Welcome to Anime Breakouts. Show starts with girl named Amiya Haruko who's a second-year high schooler and the student council vice president of Tenai Academy. She's heading to meet her childhood sweetheart Wayama Takuro, who's the main character. He is 1 year younger than her but used to train in the same dojo. She was excited to meet him as he was transferred into an all-boy boarding 3 years ago. After reaching his room she have found huge piles of boxes lying on the floor and she calls Takaro, while Takaro behind the box is desperately trying to wear pants. As Takaro he hears her approaching and accidentally knocks over a pile of boxes, which begins to fall on Haruko, but he pushes her in order to save her from the falling boxes, which results in them in an awkward position in Takaro hands to be on Haruko's plot, for which he gets a good beating. Afterwards Takaro apologizes for his mistake while Haruko expresses her joy of meeting him after so many years and how he's changed so much, but Takaro's focus was more on the plot. Then they both begin to walk together to the school. Suddenly Haruko asks Takaro his reason to join Tenai Academy, then facts such as the school having no entrance exam or interview, it being a boarding school, and the main reason of them all is that the school is an all-girls school. He begins to tell how he suffered 3 years in the all-boys school without a glimpse of girls. After reaching the gate Haruko asks if he knows anything about this school, of which he replies negatively. Then she explain how Tenbi Academy is different from other schools in having a martial arts competition and there is a school festival in which they wear mu clothes. Takaro becomes excited. Suddenly an announcement calls upon and Haruko has to go. Before leaving she tells him to go towards the gym where the entrance ceremony is taking place. Afterwards Takaro gets excited seeing many girls heading inside and follows them, resulting in him being lost. While wondering how he got lost he hears fighting noises and is surprised when he turns back seeing 2 girls fighting with some weird weapons. The girls seem to be fighting over someone or something, while a third girl Hami Kodama is hanging on a tree branch upside down and enjoying the fight. Takaro approaches Kodama and tells her something in sign language. When she realizes what it means she's embarrassed. Suddenly a sword comes flying from the fight, cutting the branch on which Kodama was hanging, resulting in her falling onto Takaro, accidentally kissing him and showing white sky, to which Kodama reacts aggressively and was about to beat him when she notices a mark on his chest and lets him go while mumbling to herself that she has found her enemy. Takaro runs straight up to the gym. He was there in time and the principal Ruko Minori start to welcome the fresher students by introducing them to the school's motto, which mind, beauty and body. Then she explained how this school allows students to freely learn love and battle, which confused Hero. She told every student how they will receive element to fight for the 8 Mac. Then she started the demonstration battle, where the contestants were the same girls as Takaro saw them fighting before. Principal introduces them as Chinatsuaki and Kinu Garrett, but both refuse to battle as they fought earlier. The principal tries to find new candidates to perform a demo battle when suddenly Kodama appears and challenges Takaro to a fight, giving a shock to everyone. Haruko tries to object as a fresher and a second year's battle might end up dangerously. Kodama states it to be just a demonstration battle to principal, who has to agree on the battle and Takaro has to fight against his will on the battle stage. Kodama notices Takaro to be nervous and tries to calm him by telling him it's just a demo battle and she won't give her all, while she herself plots a plan to kill him for stealing a kiss. And seeing her white sky she summons a minion named Ikazuchi and orders him to plant a lightning ball in the heart of Takaro in order to kill him. After 7 days to avoid suspicion the battle begins and Takaro tries to attack his hardest while Kodama avoids the attacks easily. Suddenly she moves back and charges a lightning attack and attacks Takaro. Aruko tries to protect him but another girl from the freshers come between using Mon and blocks the attack. Before fainting in his hands she says to Takaro, "We finally met." After waking up she hugs Takaro tightly, making Haruko jealous and trying to separate them. When asked who she was she replied her name was Kashia Inaho and that she's the fiancé of Takaro, surprising everyone present. Even Takaro himself is surprised, but also happy as his fantasy was coming true. Haruko was so angry and jealous about the situation. Takaro received some beating from her. After school Haruko is shown going to Tako's dorm to ask him about the whole fiancé situation, where she unexpectedly find Inaho staying as well. Here they got to know Haruko is the dorm superintendent and doesn't allow a boy and girl to live together. Inaho Explains that she has taken permission from the principal. Haruko again tries to object, but suddenly Kodama barges into the room and says that she will be living with them, making Haruko so jealous that she brings her stuff and decides to stay with them too. And Ao points out there being only 3 beds and offers to share the bed with Takaro, but Haruko rejects it and approves the idea of Takaro sleeping on the roof. After a while Haruko wakes up in the middle of night and is worried about Takaro, so she goes to roof to check Takaro and finds something which makes her shocked. Next morning Takaro wakes up with a swollen cheek. He gets confused and Haruko throws an ice pack at him to apply to his cheeks. Turns out as night Haruko saw Inaho climbing the roof and sleeping with Takaro. She was very angry, and Takaro received a powerful slap. Then Takaro goes down to the bathroom to wash his face, where he stumbles upon Kodama changing and saw her black sky, this time making her frustrated. Takaro has now done it twice. Kodama decides to teach him a lesson. While having breakfast everyone eats except Takaro. He holds his hand in front of his eye. Haruko tells Takaro has to hurry is not to get late to school. When Takaro starts to eat he praises the food to be delicious when he noticed the time they rush to school. The girls were fast and reached before the gates closing, while Takaro was left behind. He had to be thrown over the gates by Kodama minion. He lands on the ground in confusion. He asked about how was he able to jump this high. Haruko replies by telling him about the Kodama ability called invisible, which allows her to do so. They are interpreted by Takaki Furan, who is president of student council. She scolds Haruko for being late, even as the vice president of student council, and doesn't allow her to be so close to Takaro. Suddenly a breeze of wind flows, revealing Fan's cute bear, making her almost cry from embarrassment. The principal tells them to go to their classes immediately. After reaching the class Takaro and Inaho apologize for being late and goes to sit down on their places, while their classmates mumble stuff about them. Afterwards the homeroom teacher introduces herself as a mom. Then suddenly the principal barges into the class announcing that there will be a health checkup. Then she instructs the girls to go first and stands up to takes permission from Taro and leaves, making every other boy jealous. He suddenly realizes it's a co-ed school. Takaro stands up to ask permission to go to toilet. The boy beside him named Yuzue Kino also asks the same question. They both leave the class. Then they climb a tree and peek into the infirmary and start rating girls' bodies. They 0 to girls having a boyfriend. When they both look at Inaho unzipping, Takaro puts his hand on the eyes of Kengo to not allow him to see an AO. The boy also understands that she is Takaro's fiancé. They are caught by Kodama, who sits on the branch above them. Then she kicks them both in the face as a punishment and both of them leave. Kodama minion point she was able to control her anger and not kill them. Kodama states that she's not feeling that blood-boiling anger which she felt yesterday, and she doesn't know the reason for her feelings to be lost. Then in the boys' INF firmer, both the boys seem to have the kicks printed on their faces. Taku hears a sweet female voice. Then he goes for a checkup and admires that the school not only has great students but great teachers too. While entering, the teacher asks about his face, to which he lies that he fell. The teacher instructs him to put his hand in a box-shaped device which could talk on its own. The device named Kurobo will tell the nature element of the student. As Takaro puts his hands in the machine, it's not able to tell his nature, making the teacher interfere. Then she herself puts Taro's hand in the machine, making the plot rub against Tako's arm, but still the result is negative. Then there is a meeting between the principal Takaro in Naho Haruko and the founder of the machine, who was called Tagashi. Jen claims it's impossible for someone to have no element and also claims Kobo to be a masterpiece. An argument started. He questions how suddenly 3 students having an unidentified element appeared this year that also included Takaro in Inaho. Principal states Inaho already having a Makan being to be the reason for it, but the others are different. She states that the other one comes from that place and probably hold the Mak Komodo. Already Taku asks if it's too much serious of a problem having unidentified element, to which all 3 reply it to be a great problem. Mac is used in all of 10 by Academy's battles. This serves to him as a disadvantage. Inaho suggests Takaro to just reject battle proposals, but principal points out some people use Mac outside of battle and nothing can be done there. Inaho says she'll protect him everywhere. Jen recommends Takaro living 1 month without Mac. After the meeting, Inaho and Takaro are sitting on a bench when a ball hits Takaro right in the face. The girls throwing the ball apologize while watching them play. A pamphlet comes on his face. Advertising club recruiting. Inaho explains that everyone in the school has to join a club. Takaro finally asks why she protects him and call him her fiancé. She replies, if you can't remember it, it's a secret. Haruko arrives to give Takaro his lunch. Takaro asks her to show him around the school as he wants to join a club. Then we are shown as a genin and principal alone. Calling Takaro is Sensei's son and comment on his character and looks matching to Sensei Haruko. Takaro and Inaho heads out to find a club and visit many clubs. While visiting a volleyball club, a volleyball charged with mon comes towards Takaro but is blocked by Inaho. Takaro realizes he should choose cultural club and not having any need for elemental powers. When looking for such club he finds a grayer photography club and decides to join it. Inaho will join any club which he joins, but Haruko absolutely opposes the idea as the club might be absurd. Instead she suggests joining the club Kenu. Takaro wanted to know more about the Kenu. Haruko explains that it is like Tenni High School's public order team of which she's the club president. The next morning Haruko goes to take a bath and is worried about Takaro having no mac. Takaro arrives to wash his face when Haruko comes out of the bathroom asking Inaho and Kodama if they have any shampoo as hers ran out. She accidentally gives him a glimpse of her beauty and throws a bottle at him in anger and break his nose at school. Takaro asks Haruko for more details about the Kenu. Haruko tells them that the student council has two clubs under it. First is the Mat Shikibu, which takes care of all kinds of troublesome incidents with the help of an instructor from year 1 and above to support them. There is Kino. The Kino gives their best to allow every student to live a bright and happy school life. Suddenly Kango appears from a bush and introduces himself to Haruko as he begins to walk at her. Takaro felt something was wrong and went to tell her to be careful but accidentally put his hand on her pants. But another student named Murachi arrived from behind and beat Takaro, calling him a pervert. Haruko explains it Toichi is just an accident and introduces her to Takaro as also one of her childhood friends, and that she was her kai in middle school. She tells them both to get along. The news spreads that there is a battle going on the ground. Everyone gathers there and sees that Isuki is fighting with a new student Kosakai who has challenged her to a fight, and if he wins Aki has to become his lover, but if she loses he must stop pestering her. Kodama deems it to be stupid but states that expressing your love straightforward is better than some peeping trash. Kodama starts the battle ritual. The battle starts and Isuki underestimates her opponent and decides not to even use any mac. She gets beaten badly due to it. Takaro tries to stop it as he can't see a boy beating a girl but is stopped by everyone when Kai tries to make his final move. Something inside Takaro activates and he goes on the battleground to protect Azuki from the blow but gets blown back on the other side. Azuki finds a chance and beats Kai, making him unconscious, but fails to notice that something slipped off and is embarrassed. After knowing what Azuki is declared as the winner. Takaro is then scolded for interfering in a battle and disrespecting the rules of school. Haruko is happy that his gentleness and bravery have not changed since he was young. Takaro says to Haruko that he understands girls are strong but the outcome of the battle should be concluded in a fair manner, to which Haruko says it's the duty of Kenu to ensure a fair battle. After listening to this, Takaro decided to join the Kenu along with Inaho and Kino, who naturally joined the Kenu as Haruko is the president. They go to the clubhouse and everyone in the club is excited to have 3 new members this year. They decide to hold an exchange meeting to tighten their bonds. The meeting spot turns out to be a hot spring bath where Takaro and Kino become comrades as both are excited to see the girls in bath suits. They arrive one by one, which makes both excited. Then the introduction starts. Finally Injuki, the advising teacher this year, is introduced and suddenly Aza Cha-Cha throws a ninja star which misses, then landing near Takaro and Kengo, almost hitting them. The boys notice a bear approaching and call for help. The girls come and conclude it to be a moon bear. They decide not to kill it but make him run away without hurting him much. The bear starts to chase after the boys and knock them away in the air several times before the girls finally use their mac to chase the bear away in the mountains. They explain their monens to the newcomers. Haruko states that by adding the Madu Shirku and Kenu it becomes Madu Ken Kiku, which in short stands for Mak Kai, and welcomes the newcomers to Make and Kai. There is physical training going on in which the boys are underperforming as always compared to the girls. Aki tells them that as Mak and Kai physical training should be an everyday business for them. Cha-Cha helps them run faster. The education class starts where Furan is teaching the basics of Min while the boys are sleeping in the class. When Furan notices them she scolds them and gives them a punishment. The boys ask for forgiveness but she states the punishment is to be fulfilled. To wake them up the other teacher shows them fans. Cat in order to wake them up, and it works. Then Kodama trains their mind by telling them to abandon all other thoughts. The boys try to do as said, but when AK-sensei comes they get distracted and can't control their thoughts, failing miserably and getting punished for it. At night Takaro is tired and he is complaining about the training being hard while Haruko is doing her studies. Takaro asks her for some medicine for his pain but there aren't any available at that time. She asks him to wait till tomorrow. Until then Inaho offers to massage his body and starts to massage him well. Haruko gets jealous and also joins in massaging him while Kodama is watching it all from behind the door. She is still not sure if Takaro has the mark or not. She comes and steps on Takaro and forces him to go out with her. The next day Takaro is waiting and wondering why Kodama asked him out. All of a sudden Haruko, Inaho and Kino are spying on him. When Kodama arrives looking like a goth Eli Lily, Takaro is stunned to see her and compliments her outfit, after which they left for shopping. Takaro finds it amusing that Tenbi Academy has such a place. Kodama explains that Tenbi Academy is different from the outside world and has its own laws. It's like a country inside a country. She begins shopping while piling up boxes after boxes for Takaro to carry. They enter a shop to buy clothes for Kodama and she asks him which pair of clothes will suit her. He suggests trying both while she leaves for the changing room and warns him not to peek on her. A lot of ladies enter the store making it crowded and Takaro starts to lose balance and call out for Kodama to hurry up. Soon he loses his balance and falls, ending up with Kodama in her changing room and getting punched. Later Takaro is wrapped in bandages. The spying tree is still spying on them and someone else is too. They both get to the maid cafe where Takaro is surprised to find Asuki dressed as a maid there. Aki becomes furious at Kodama for bringing Takaro along. Kodama ignores her and orders food. When the food arrives Azuki leaves a message for Takaro on the omelette. After leaving the premises they are both sitting on a bench on a lake corner. Takaro compliments her by stating that she will look good in her maid outfit. Then they both talk like they are couples on a date when suddenly Kodama remembers she has to find out about the mark. She tries to forcefully find it on his chest when suddenly 3 students rise from a nearby bush introducing themselves as members of the Kodama fan club. They won't allow a loser like Takaro to fool Kodama. Kodama summons her minions who take good care of the 3. A man appears from the woods behind and starts to fight Kodama with his mak. While fighting Kodama asks the man if he is from Kamigari. It turns out that if he brings back the combat data of a talented student of Tenbi, Kamigari will hire him for this. He launches an attack at her but it accidentally hits Takaro, revealing his chest where there are no marks, which surprises Kodama. The attacks make them fall into the lake where Taiko's power activates and saves them from there. He then starts to fight the man. Suddenly the same mark appears on his chest which was not there before. With this power he is able to defeat that guy easily, and as a reward for saving Kodama she gives him a kiss, making everyone there jealous. Get ready for more interesting videos.